Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. Keith here from Come On The Hoops. If this is your first time coming across the channel, like and subscribe below would be appreciated. As we hit the 19,000 subs the other day, I appreciate the support far and wide from across the world. But I want to talk about the result last night, the defeat. Another embarrassing result at home in Europe for Celtic. It's becoming a regular occurrence, regardless who's in charge. And I know it was Martin O'Neill's 1,000th match in charge in his career last night, and it didn't go the way it was meant to go. There's disturbance of balls being thrown the pitch at the start. Former Celtic players like Neil Lennon criticised that portion of fans. Petrov criticised portion of fans. There's been a divide between fans online, calling other fans out, saying they're not real fans, they're cowards, all this malarkey. At the end of the day, we all want unity. We all want unity for our club. We need to push our team forward. But the most important thing is the players on the pitch. And we need to address the goalkeeping situation. KASPER Schmeichel last night conceded 4 goals. And 3 of the goals were blatant errors. Complete errors where he could have saved, especially the first goal and the third goal. But I find it's an occurrence where he won't dive on a certain shoulder, because back in April 2025, he picked up an injury for Denmark on international duty, which ruled him out for 6 weeks for Celtic. We all remember that Sinisalo ended up playing in goal for Celtic in that time. And you have to say, I thought he was steady, done pretty well in goal for Celtic. And the calls are coming out from the Celtic fans after last night. Schmeichel is a liability. He needs to be dropped. Sinisalo should be put in there, or Ross Doolan should have been put in there going forward, because there's too many mistakes from KASPER Schmeichel. From the cup final back in May, which he came back a couple of weeks before that from his shoulder injury, which he got shoulder surgery, he just hasn't been the same goalkeeper. Even against Motherwell around Christmas time, his distribution of the ball, we end up giving away sloppy goals. Even in the League Cup final, like flapping for balls, say Mirren Company beating us. And then the prime example is Braga in the Europa League, where he could have just saved it with his left hand, decided to use his right hand. And we've seen the same situation at Rugby Park last weekend, where he could have used his left hand, instead he tries to use his right hand. He just can't get down. His mobility levels are declining. He doesn't look like he has the figure he once had in goal. And it's a case where, for his own mental health as well, after the abuse he received last night, I do not agree with Celtic fans booing our players, especially booing one particular player because he's made errors. All means people can write it online and criticize them, but don't be doing it in their workplace. In their workplace where they're trying to get the best out of themselves. And I have to say, I think KASPER Schmeichel is picking his international career over his Celtic career, because he wants to be playing regularly and making sure that he's fit to play in these crucial World Cup playoff to get into the World Cup in America this summer. He's played 120 times for his country. This will be his last chance to play in maybe a major tournament. But we need keepers to turn up. And it just feels like it's a regular occurrence with KASPER. And I know he's been a magnificent keeper in his career, winning Premier Leagues and FA Cups, but Sinisalo has to go back in. His distribution is better. He's a younger keeper. He's been around now for 82 years. He's obviously been the understudy to KASPER Schmeichel. And the games he has been in goal, the 13 games, he actually hasn't been bad, to be honest. That goal that Dundee scored in the cup a couple of weeks ago, couldn't do much about that. It was an absolute screamer. The goals that you conceded at Livingston, that was down to poor defending under the Nancy regime as well. I would give Sinisalo the jersey, or Ross Doolan the jersey. Doolan's obviously played in goal for Aberdeen a couple of years ago, so he has the experience there playing in big games. But the stakes are high, folks. The reason why the stakes are high is because after last night, with the coefficient, Scotland have dropped down to 18th place in the UEFA ranking coefficient for clubs. The days of winning the league, getting a playoff, and then even finishing runners-up, getting to the second round of the Champions League qualifier, getting that spot, it's all been changed. As you see on the screen there, Whoever wins the league gets the second round qualifier for the Champions League next season, this summer. And whoever finishes runners up, it's not a Europa League spot, folks. It's a Conference League second round qualification. The stakes are high, and whoever finishes third, they're in the same position. They're in the Conference League second round qualification. The only way that Celtic would go a step in Europe if they don't win the league is winning the Scottish Cup, which would be Europa League qualification third round. It just shows that, you know, when Celtic and Rangers and other teams don't do well in Conference League, Champions League, and Europa League, the coefficient will go down, the points will go down. And it's massive stakes. We are 3 points behind Hearts with a game in hand, a difficult game to go to Pittodrie. As you see on the screen right there, we have Hibs at home on Sunday at 3 o'clock at Celtic Park. We're away to Stuttgart, and I'll be honest with you, the Stuttgart game to me is a write-off. It's a complete write-off. I don't care about the result. I don't care about the performance, because all my head is thinking about is winning this title. And we have an average team, and the blame goes to for the whole team on the performance last night. We bring Bernardo in to play a Rio Atate role, couldn't cut it. Just couldn't cut the intensity. You know, we should have played Yang from the start instead of Taneki, and Yang looked more effective when he came on. It's just some of these players like Maeda, he's completely off. He's chasing the ball, but he's not being productive on the ball, if you want to say. But Rangers there on that Sunday, and then we're away to Aberdeen on the Wednesday, which is the game in hand, and then we're back over in Ibrox for the Cup. Massive games coming up, folks. 5 games that would judge the season. Even if we were to drop points on Sunday at home to Hibs, or even lose the game to Hibs, you can write the title off to me. In my eyes, write it off, because I just think there's too much inconsistency in the squad. We have a captain who's been playing that defensive midfield role for the last 3 to 4 seasons. And to be honest, I think Callum McGregor is more effective pushing forward. We don't have a backup defensive midfielder. Yes, we could maybe play Oxlade-Chamberlain there. He's played that role for Besiktas last season 12 times, but we really need to get McGregor more forward. The same with Negrin, because with Ingles being out until the end of March, Atate not at it, McKeown desperately lacking confidence, Bernardo lacking confidence, it's a big concern. And our defenders like the likes of Trusty, he's completely off it. Scales, confidence is shattered. These issues need to be addressed. And Martin O'Neill has a big decision to make. Will he stay with Schmeichel in goal on Sunday? And will Schmeichel some sort of redeem himself? I'm sure if you put this poll out to Celtic fans today, I'm sure probably 85% of Celtic fans would say Schmeichel needs to be dropped for his own mental sanity as well. Because if I was a footballer and I was getting booed and then getting applauded by the opposition fans, that would play in my head, regardless how long you're in the game. And I feel sorry for Kasper Schmeichel. You know, I was one of the advocates that wanted Kasper Schmeichel to sign for Celtic when he was a free agent a couple of years ago. I was delighted. I was excited about the thoughts of Kasper Schmeichel. I thought he was brilliant until he picked up that injury back in April 25. And it's just been all downhill. It's like every 2 or 3 games, there's a howler, there's a fault. There's poor communication with his defenders. He can't control his box. He can't get down quick enough. You know, it's just like there's clips of all his errors in a Celtic shirt trending, and it's just bad. It's bad for his own sake. We just need to freshen up at the back. We really do. And the same with like Tierney. I'd go for Srirachi in some games, because I think as much as Tierney's passionate and he's a Celtic fan and he's a top earner at the club, wages wise as a player, I think Srirachi offers something different. He's more direct. Tierney is like he doubts himself at times in the Celtic shorts. Get me wrong, his crossing ability is fantastic, but going in for tackles, man marking, pushing up, it's like he's restricting himself, and it's hard to look at times with Tierney. And Araro has to start the rest of the campaign. Yes, Alex Johnson will be coming back in shortly, and it will be difficult for Ali Johnson to get back in there, but we need to have belief. We need to get the confidence from somewhere. And I know Martin is a phenomenal manager. He's a great motivation speaker, and he is frustrated with what happened last night with the fans and the ball, saying that some fans need to have a head shake, and some fans are just upset and angry of the operations of the board, and other fans are just angry, or other fans of how this is going, how this is unfolding. We're Celtic supporters. We put this crest on. We wear the scarf. We watch the games, if it's on your couch or at the games or in the pub. We all need to stick together. There's no point moaning and arguing with each other. Negativity is not good for the team. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for people outside trying to give us shite as well. We need to stick together. This is the reason why we've been champions of Scotland. This is the reason why we've won trebles. You look at that flag there. That was when we won the treble. And I'm looking at players like Jota, who was on fire. Daisy Maeda, who actually wanted to play. Rio Atate was probably the best midfielder that season. You got Callum McGregor, that was passionate as hell, which he always is. Greg Taylor, that we're desperately missing. You know, Carter Vickers, The Rock. You know, AJ, Moy, Kyogo. It feels like we're missing players like that character at the club. There's only a handful of players, and I think Martin needs to step back and just rest KASPER Schmeichel and give Sinisalo or Doolin a chance in goal. Now, while we're talking about goalkeepers, what I've been thinking about over the last couple of days is a replacement for KASPER Schmeichel in the summer, which I'll be honest with you, is a guy that I've talked about so many times on the channel over the last 3 to 4 years. DOMNIK Livakovic. Livakovic is Croatia's #1. He's been capped 74 times for his country. They finished 3rd place in the last World Cup, and he pulled off some cracking saves in that tournament. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable keeper. At the moment, he's gone through a bit of a bad spell in his career. He made a move to Fenerbahce a couple of years back, played a lot of games for them, but he's been out of favour over the last year, and he's currently back at his club where he won 7 titles, which is Dinamo Zagreb. He's only played 6 times for them. He has 2 years left in his contract at Fenerbahce. He's valued around 5.3 million. He's 31 years of age. I would be really considering getting Livakovic in. And yes, KASPER is at 39. Joe Hart was like 34 when we signed him, 35. Look at 31, still quite all right for the keepers, for keeper's ability. And I think we should go in for Livakovic because Champions League experience. He's #1 for his country. He's played in Europa League. He's played for big clubs like Fenerbahce as well. Why not? Why not go for Livakovic? I think it'd be an ideal move there. And it's not even down he has injuries. It's just being out of favour, to be honest with you. It's just when Mourinho went into Fenerbahce, he just shuffled around and decided, right, look at this is what I'm doing. You're not my #1 pick. And he wanted to go implement his own style and get a different keeper in. So Livakovic for me would be a person that Celtic should consider looking at. I will be looking at other keepers, obviously, on the channel over the next couple of weeks, but it's a lot of work to be done, folks, regards to players being cleared out in the summer. But we have a job to do right now. And the most important thing as fans is sticking together, not arguing with each other, not saying, "Yous are right for this," or "Yous are wrong doing that." It's about continuity. It's about having the belief. And I know it's draining. I know it's exhausting. I know sometimes you're dreading watching Celtic games because you feel like it could be on the wrong side of a bad result, or we could be dropping points. And you look at the mistakes that's happened this season. But there's been worse times in Celtic's history where the teams were out of a title race well early enough. And we have a chance to crawl this back with an average team. But they need to believe in themselves. They need to believe that they can be more constructive, attacking, better defending, and actually get a bit of drive in the midfield. Oxlade-Chamberlain should be crucial for us if we keep him fit. Callum McGregor needs to be crucial, start hitting them long shots. You know, Maeda needs to start turning up for the big games and showing that this is his final hurrah and he wants to leave with a big bang and he gets his international call-up. That'd be ideal. But there's a lot to ask. Rio Atate as well. Some of us will be relieved when Rio Atate leaves, and some of us will be sad because with Tate in his first 3 seasons, he was brilliant at Celtic. He's just completely dipped since that man left, and he's just not the same player. So the Japanese connection will end up being ending this summer, but we need to get the best out of these players, and it doesn't help a squad of players when matches are disrupted, when there's arguments, when there's fans booing their own players, when you can feel the morgue around you, where it's just dead silence, and the away fans are singing out for the whole away or for the whole game. It's not good enough. Celtic fans are known for being the 12th man in Europe, in European games, and it's just been an embarrassment. And it's, you know, as Martin O'Neill kept saying, in his time, his first time, teams used to dread coming to Celtic Park, like Juventus, Manchester United, teams that were really dreading it from a manager's perspective, fans' perspective, coach's perspective, used to dread come to Celtic Park because of the fortress. Now it's, oh, we'll take a chance. Stuttgart played in second gear last night against us, folks. Second gear against us. And even some Stuttgart fans online were like, that's not even near at best level. That just shows how embarrassing it is. It was men versus boys, because clearly Callum McGregor looked like he was all over the place. There was no plan. There was no urgency. We had a couple of chances. That's about it. A couple of runs for the whole game. It was a triangle stage football between Schmeichel, Scales, and Trusty. That's all I seen for most of the game. A bit of Yang running up in the second half, a bit of Raho, and that was it. And Nygren scoring. And that was, be honest, that was a fluke, because you look at the way that they tried to clear the lines, and obviously a hit off Nygren. Nygren capitalised and took around the keeper and scored, and that was it. But it's hard, folks. It's hard at the moment, but you gotta believe. You gotta believe. And I could be acting different on Sunday if we were to drop points. But touch wood, praise to the God that we can pull this title off. And it will be the most weirdest season of all if we were to win this title. But my honest opinion is, forget about Stuttgart. We need to win at Ibrox in both games, regards to the Scottish Cup and the league. And we need to be Hearts in the post split and Rangers in the post split as well at Celtic Park to take this title, and hoping that other results go opposite way as well. Because if Rangers drop points, even though we are in a better position than Rangers with that game in hand, it's not guaranteed we're going to win that game in hand. We need results to go against them as well. For the likes of, Motherwell will have a big say in this title race. They're a big team. Hibs, teams down the bottom that are fighting for their lives, they'll have a say, try not taking points off Celtic, Hearts, and Rangers. So let's see how it goes, folks. My honest opinion, drop Kasper Schmeichel. No hard feelings, but I think we're at the final cross with him, to be honest. And I will say thank you very much for what he has brought to us. Big games in Europe, like last year in the Champions League. Thought he was fantastic in some games. Doing well in that penalty shootout in the League Cup against Rangers. Like, stuff like that people forget about. You gotta think of the good times as well. But folks, thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I hope you are all doing